Very good. So we will go to the lesson 26. And in fact, uh, 5 minutes recap. So mainly what we were discussing was the basic human problem. The basic human problem is we all are subjected to sorrow. We are all at the risk. We are trying to avoid those risks, but sometimes or the other, definitely that risk is going to materialize. Already we are experiencing some of that. So how do we reprogram ourselves, or how do we adopt a lifestyle change so that we are resilient to this sorrow, any potential sorrow, even if that is the death? So that is what the theme was. So in that discussion, we started by saying that every individual has three dimensions of personality. One is the physical personality, which means it's a Gina or Rajesh or Rohitji or any one of us with a physical form. And that physical body, we said, it has a definite birth, it has a definite growth, it has a definite decay, and finally there is an end. So if you look at me, you can experience or you can interact with me only at certain period of time, and that cannot be forever. So that's a fact. But that doesn't mean that, just listen to this because this is very important, that doesn't mean that I stop to exist completely. So when you think, because when somebody passes away, definitely it's a sorrow. It's a legitimate sorrow. We cannot say that we can experience that person anymore in that particular form. But what exactly we wanted to understand here is that, yes, that is true. I cannot experience that person in that particular form anymore. But at least if you know that that person is not completely become non-existent, that's a different feeling. Then the feeling becomes, yeah, I'm not connected to him anymore. But that doesn't mean that he is not there. So that's one shift we are trying to introduce here. So to introduce that, we said every person has three layers of personality. One is the physical personality, which is a temporary personality, which begins at the time of our birth and it ends at the time of the death of the human body. And there is another factor which do not have any birth, any change, any movement, and we call that as Atma. And there is a third factor which is again relatively temporary, but the longevity is much higher than the physical body. We call it as soul or subtle body. So we were trying to analyze each of these points in details. So physical body, what is the nature of that physical body? It is temporary, it is subjected to change, and it will come to an end at one point of time. And then we were talking a lot about the nature of the Atma. So we identified some 7 characteristics of Atma. One is Atma is Nityaha. Atma is permanent. That is the first feature. The second one is Atma is Satyaha. Atma is the reality, absolute reality. It means when we say absolute reality means it is not dependent upon anything else for its existence. The third thing we saw was Atma is Sarvagataha. It is all pervading. There is no one place where the Atma is not there. The fourth one is Atma is Ekaha. There is only one Atma for the entire universe. Even if there are hundreds of jivas, there is only one Atma. Just like there is only one electricity. The computers are many, the hardwares are many, the softwares are many, but the electricity is only one. So like that, Atma is Ekaha. Then Atma is Aprameyaha. Last week we saw that. Atma is not known through the usual means of knowledge. Usual means of knowledge is my sense organs and inference. Atma cannot be known through that part. Then Atma is Akartaha Abhoktaha. Atma is not an agent of action. Atma is not an object of action. Meaning, if somebody gets killed, Atma won't get killed. If somebody get hurt, Atma won't get hurt. So that's why it's not an agent, it is not an object of action. And finally we said Atma is Niruvikalpaha. Last week we saw that. Atma is free from all modification. So this is what we have been seeing, right? So we were in the analysis of body, soul and Atma. So we were focusing a lot on Atma. So this week also we will continue to discuss Atma, and also we will talk a little bit about the subtle body. So with that, let's go to the verse 20. So let's listen to the chanting.
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Very popular verse of Bhagavad Gita. It's again talk about the nature of Atma. So it's a repetition, little bit of repetition, but it's just re-emphasize the unborn and changeless nature of the Atma. So let's see. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. Na jayate means it was never born, even though the body, remember, always compare and contrast with physical body and soul, because the Atma is never born. The physical body is born at the time of our date of birth. The subtle body or the soul is born at the time of the manifestation of the universe. The Atma we are talking was there even prior to the manifestation of the universe. And the Atma was never non-existent. So that's the first feature. Na jayate. When there is no birth, naturally, mriyate. There is no death. It is ever going to, means Atma is never going to die. Kadachit. Certainly the Atma was never born and it is never going to die. Because remember the three aspects of a Jiva. The Atma part is what is being analyzed here. So the Atma was never born and it is never going to die. Then Nayam Bhuktva Bhavita Vana Bhuyaha. Having been born, it means right now we see that somebody is getting born. Krishna just wanted to make sure that we understand that whatever that is born, that is not Atma. And whatever that is dying, that is not Atma. So it is not that Atma is born and it ceases to exist. Absolutely no. Nayam bhuktva bhavita va na bhuyaha. So having born, it never ceases to exist because it do not have any birth or death. Now, positively asserting the characteristics of Atma. Ajaha. Ajaha means if you add the prefix a to any Sanskrit word, it negates it. So ja means born. Ajaha means not born at all. Ajaha. So that it doesn't have any, means it was unborn. Nityaha. Nityaha means eternal. Eternal means it was there always. Shashwataha. Everlasting. Means we can say that it was there all through the past. What about the future? It is going to be there always. Ajaha, Nityaha, Shashwataha, Puranaha. Ayam means this. This Atma is Ajaha, Nityaha, Shashwataha, Puranaha. Puranaha means it's beautiful. Like the definition of Purana means that which is the most ancient but most relevant even now. It is ancient but still new. That is what is Purana. So it is Ajaha, it is Nityaha, it is Shashwataha, and it is Puranaha. It was there ever since the beginning. And it is still relevant. And what is the characteristics of this Atma? Krishna wanted to understand, means make us clearly understand. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. When the body is killed, nothing is going to happen to Atma. So this is the essence of this verse. So najayate mriyate va kadachit means if when you using the Sandhi rules, it will be pronounced as kadachin. Najayate mriyate va kadachin. Nayam bhuktva bhavita va na bhuyaha. Ajo nitya shashwatoyam purano. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. So the Sandhi Vicheda is listed here. This is for your reference. So the first sentence is, this Atma is not born. The second sentence is, this Atma never dies. The third sentence is, this Atma, having being, does not become non-existent again at any time. That is the third sentence. The fourth sentence is, this Atma is unborn, ajaha, eternal, nityaha, undergoes no change, shashwataha, ever new but most ancient, puranaha. When the body is destroyed, Atma is not destroyed. So this is what it is. So there is just a copy issue. So it is not, Krishna just copied exactly this verse from Katha Upanishad. So you can see that Krishna directly lifted and just made one or two words change. From Katha Upanishad, 2nd chapter, 18th verse. And one thing Krishna did was, he just wanted to highlight the importance of this verse, so he changed the meter. So when we chanted, you might have listened, the change in meter. The usual meter of Bhagavad Gita is Anushtup. Anushtup means 4 portions with 32 syllables. So here it is a big meter, Trishtup. That is, the meter change indicates that something important is there or something noteworthy is there. That is what is indicated through the change in meter. So the essence of this meter is, Atma is free from all modifications, all changes, meaning birth, growth, decay, death, everything. In other words, the technical term used by Shankaracharya is Nirvikara Atma. Vikara means, in Sanskrit, means its modification. Nirvikara means beyond all modification. So Atma is free from all the modifications. Like in Vedanta we call about, means for a human being or a living being, there are 6-fold modifications. Asti, which is the existence. Jayate, which is the birth. Varthate, which is the growth. Viparinamate, it's a big change in metamorphosis. Apakshiyate, meaning it is the decay. Pranashyati, it is the death. So this Atma is free from all these modifications. And this Atma will not destroyed when the body is destroyed. So the key thing we need to understand is that Atma is intimately connected to the body. But whatever happens to the body, it will not affect the Atma. The electricity is intimately connected to the laptop. For the functioning of the laptop, the electricity is absolutely must have. But if a malware happens in the computer or the keyboard breaks, nothing happens to the electricity. So that's exactly the Atma and the body and the soul. The relationship is, again, I really want you to contemplate upon that example, which is the computer hardware, the software, and the electricity. This is the unchanging nature of the Atma. So the summary of this verse, the Atma is neither born nor it ever die. After having born, it never ceased to be. Second portion. The Atma is unborn, eternal, changeless, and ancient. And the Atma is not killed when the body is killed. This is the essence of this verse. Any questions? Okay, so that's good. So let's go to the next verse. Again,
Rajatji,
yeah.
sorry, I joined a little late. Just one quick question.
Sure.
Is the Atma singular or is it plural?
It is singular. It is singular. It is always singular. This Atma. So it's a good question, right? The Atma is a word in Sanskrit. It is always used, means mainly it is used to refer the Paramatma. When you talk about the Paramatma, it's always singular. So here afterwards, let's qualify that with Sachidananda Atma. Sachidananda Atma means the Supreme Self. There is only one. Whereas the soul, if you use the Atma to refer the soul, which is not technically correct, it is plural. Because multiple souls are there, but there is only one Atma. So the relationship is one to many.
So then, Rajatji, then the question is that since we, all the jivas in the world, there are multitudes of jivas.
Correct.
How are multiple plural jivas the same as one singular Atma?
See, means it is exactly the same as that of, let's say that there is, and let me go back to the stock example in Vedanta. The laptop example is a new example. The stock example given in the Vedantic textbook is, imagine there are 100 buckets and each bucket has some water and there is one sun and you are looking at the reflection of the sun in each bucket of water. So the individuality, the jiva is what? The reflection of the sun in that bucket of water that is separate. Let's say that the first bucket, the water is muddy. You will see an unclear sun. The second bucket, if that water is turbulent, the jivatma or the individual jiva, you see it is a dancing sun. And the third sun, let's say that it is clear. It's a clear sun. But who provides the existence for all these buckets? The existence of the sun you see in every bucket. It comes from one source. Just like that, the Atma, the Paramatma is only one. That Paramatma gives energy, vitality and existence to all the Jiva. And how that Paramatma is reflected through that Jiva, it is always conditioned by the characteristics of the subtle body and the characteristics of the physical body of the Jiva. So the same Paramatma gets manifested through different Jiva depending upon the capacity of the equipment. So a GPU computer can process much more data than a CPU computer. So that doesn't mean that the electricity in GPU is more powerful than the electricity of the CPU. Just like that, the difference is only on the equipment. The difference between Arnabji and Rajesh is only in the equipment. But that which gives us energy, that which gives us life, that source is only one. So we need to shift that understanding slowly, because right now we feel the difference because we are identifying ourselves completely with Jiva. So, and we are talking about a state which we never ever experienced. So we are at the state of Jiva. We are grounded on Jiva, and we are talking from the perspective of Jiva. That's why this question is arising. And right now what we have to do is, without getting that direct experience, this will be a theoretical experience. So what we have to do as per the Vedantic study is assume this as a hypothesis. What is an hypothesis? It's an educated guess, correct? That's all we have to do right now. So the expectation is that we are taking a journey and we are at the beginning of that journey. So the expectation is that if you follow this path properly, the map laid out by the Gita through the 18th chapter, if you undertake that, you have been given a roadmap and you are promised that if you follow this map, you will reach New York City. So right now you are sitting here in North Brunswick and you have given a map. And in that map, it tells you to take the route 1, take the route 18, go to Turnpike, drive this much, pay toll and go through all this way. Okay, there is a deviation, you have to go to that. So right now I'm sitting in New Jersey and whatever information I'm given about New York is only a theoretical experience. So I don't know what is there. Of course, this theory is good. So, but since it is given by an authority and since this is proven by multiple people, it is not just one Krishna is saying that. Hundreds of masters in front of us had gone through this path and they have demonstrated this. We have to believe them. That is what we call it as a hypothesis. It's not a blind belief. You have been given a map and now we need to put our effort to go through that map. And when you go through that map, you will see, at least you will see means initially you won't be directly in New York, but at least you will get some glimpses. When you go to this Arizona bridge, you will see, oh, you see a glimpse of Manhattan, but it's not the real Manhattan. So the more you practice, you will feel that, okay, I'm getting closer to that. I have an experience. Over a period of time, you get an experience. That experience, I cannot describe or you cannot understand that at this point of time. So let's take it as a hypothesis. And at least there is a hope is given in front of me. Okay, so let's move to the next verse.
Rajesh,
Yes, Gina.
could you explain the difference between the subtle characteristics and the physical body characteristics?
Sure.
Are they same or different?
Sure. So, Anu, sorry, it was not Gina. Thank you, Anu. That's a good question. Again, the physical body is born out of physical matter. If you look at a computer, right? So we spent, means I really want you to go back and listen to that supplementary lesson we did, but I'll give you a quick explanation. But we did a supplementary lesson to talk about this aspect. Take the simple example of this computer laptop and the software. What exactly is the hardware in the computer? Anything you can touch and see. So that includes your keyboard, your CPU, everything. And even your memory is hardware. But what exactly is stored in the memory? So I just gave at that point of time one example. Let's say that you have a 2 TB hard disk and you're keeping hundreds of hours of video into that hard disk. So before storing the data, if you weigh the hard disk, it is 2 pounds. And after storing 80 TB, means 2 TB of data, it's still 2 pounds. That doesn't mean that nothing has gone in there. So like that, there is a physical aspect to the human dimension, which is the physical body. That includes your physical body, means whatever you can touch and see, including the brain, the neurons, and all the connections between the neurons. That is physical matter. But beyond the physical matter, there is some data has stored, just like the computer memory stores different types of data. And no EAI, means no MRI scanning, no scanning is going to tell you that what exactly is my thought. The only thing they can say that when you're happy, your left prefrontal cortex is a little bit more active. But nobody has ever found a device which tells me that this is the specific thought you have done. So this is exactly what it is. It is a subtle matter. And this subtle matter, which goes into your physical system, which gives you the personality. I gave you the example. Right now, the personality of the laptop you're seeing in front of me is PowerPoint. But I can take a, say, a browser. So if the personality has changed. So the personality of the computer is determined by the software that is active. Like that, the personality of the human being is determined by the subtle body. So the definition of the subtle body is, it includes your, actually there are 19 components. In fact, your ability to perceive, all the sense perception, ability to see, not the sensor that captures the images, that goes to the physical body, but your ability to see, to ability to think, ability to hear, all that will come. So 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action. It is not the actual organs, it is that which program, that is the software program which makes which determines my movement. So the 5 plus 5, 10, then your mind, your intellect, your ego, and your memory, Chitta. So this is the 19 components of the subtle body. So when the physical body means loosely we call it as soul. And this is what is called subtle body. And this subtle body is not destroyed when the physical body is destroyed. What happens is this subtle body is what is transmigrated to a different body. So just like that, this laptop is not working. I can copy all the software to a different hardware. Means we did that with iPhones, right? When the new iPhone comes, you can just get the phone near this, all the software will be copied. This is what is the reincarnation. So what gets reincarnate is the subtle body or the soul. But that soul is different from Atma. Atma is like the electricity. I know that this topic is really a little bit complicated and we need to have a clear clarity on this topic. So if anybody is not clear, I would suggest go back to our lessons and watch. There is a supplementary lesson. There is a playlist called a supplementary lesson and I can post that also as after the class today. We did a lot of explanation on this. Please listen to that and that would clarify this. And if you have any questions, post that because this is an important thing we need to understand in the study of Vedanta.
Thank you, Rajesh.
No problem. So let's listen.
वेदाविनाशिनं नित्यं ययेनमजमव्ययम् कथं स पुरुषः पार्थ कं घातयति हन्तिकम्.
Again, you can see the meter is different. So let's try to understand the meaning of this. So Veda Vinashinam Nityam. Veda Avinashinam Nityam. Veda means knowing. Veda is with, it comes from the root with, meaning to know. So he who knows this Atma, we are talking again about the Sachidananda Atma or the Paramatma, which is only one source. So he who knows that this Atma as Avinashinam is indestructible, Nityam, eternal, Yayenam Ajam Avyayam. Enam means this, is Ajam, unborn, and Avyayam means imperishable. So that person, that is the self-realized master, or the person who has completely seen the truth. So that person, Katham Sapurusha Partha. So for such a person, Kam Khatayati Hantikam. He knows the truth, right? When I kill a person, nothing happens. I'm only destroying his physical body. And when somebody kills me or somebody destroys me, means he know that, yeah, he cannot destroy me in its entirety. He kills me only the physical body. If I get hurt, what exactly is getting hurt? It is not the Atma, it's only the subtle body. So he knows that, the truth. So means this verse, Krishna is just talking about the person. It's summing up. He is just summing up the whole discussion so far, saying that the ultimate goal is to know this Atma properly as the indestructible, unborn Atma. So that Atma is completely Ajam and Avyayam. Such a person is not subjected to any major sorrow. Of course, there is other sorrow, but the fear of death will completely go away from him. That's what the point is. So the Santhi Vicheda is, first there is a subordinate sentence. It tells the one who knows this Atma as indestructible, timeless, unborn, and not subjected to decay. So such a person, he knows, he does this person. How does this person can kill anybody? Because he knows that even if I kill somebody, I'm only killing the physical body. I'm not killing the subtle body or even Atma, nothing will happen. And if I get killed, nothing is going to happen. I know that, oh, yes, something is going to happen. I mean, my physical body ceases to exist, but he cannot destroy me completely. So the point is, see, as I said earlier, when you know that somebody passes away, because the fear of death is addressed here, right? When somebody passes away, we know that it's a real painful situation. And imagine, just pause a moment and think. Your sorrow is twofold. One part of the sorrow is that person is no more. That is a greater sorrow. And the second portion of the sorrow is what? I am not able to connect with that person anymore. And that second portion of the sorrow is correct. When somebody loses their physical body, the physical body was the means through which he was expressing in front of us. That is gone. So if X was there and if X passes away, no more I will not be able to experience him or interact with him. So that is a legitimate sorrow. We need to address that. We already addressed that. Titiksha is the discipline we need to develop for that. But the greater sorrow each one of us has is what? Like that person completely stopped to exist. So that is not correct. So at least that much consolation is given with this verse. So let's see the implications of this verse. So the subject aspect of the action, that is what it is. So it is pointed out so far, whatever we discussed so far is summarized. So the aim of a spiritual seeker is highlighted in this verse. The aim of a spiritual seeker is to know this Atma as what? Avinashinam, Mityam, Ajam, Avyayam. to know that the Atma we are talking is Avinashinam, indestructible, Nityam, ever present, Ajam, unborn, Avyayam, means not subjected to decay. So such a Atma, one should, means knowing that Atma is the aim of all the spiritual seekers. And this, there are two steps or stages in this. First stage is what? We need to separate the body and the Atma. Right now, we think that the body and the Atma are too much commingled, or it is together. So we think that the consciousness is an integral part of the body, or the Atma is an integral part of the body. Again, I just wanted to caution you, if you really look at the neurology book, the consciousness they are referring is not the consciousness we are talking here. The neurology book talks about the consciousness is the response of our body. That is definitely part of the characteristics of the body. Here, our definition of consciousness, please keep that in mind, that our definition of consciousness is that by which all our thoughts are known to us. That which reveals all the chitta vrittis for me is the definition of consciousness in Vedanta and yoga. So we need to know that this consciousness, this Atma, that's why I'm reluctant to use the word consciousness a lot. So that's why I'm using Atma. But the Atma has a lot of other complications, because somebody takes it as soul, somebody takes it as body, somebody takes it as something else. So we need to be very clear what exactly we are referring to. We are referring to the Satchidananda Atma, that which makes the thoughts or the mental activities revealed to me. That consciousness or that Atma, it is not an integral part of the body. It is an independent entity which is beyond the body. So that understanding is the first understanding we need to have. And the second understanding we need to have is where exactly we put our identity. Should we be identifying ourselves with the physical body, or should we be identifying with the subtle body, or should we be identifying with the Atma? In the current state, we are completely identified with the physical body. That is why we have all the problems of the body is our problems, and all the problems of our mind is our problems. That is the problem. And in Vedanta, means you can listen to our Vedanta classes. There are multiple teaching methodologies which helps me to understand myself properly. So one methodology is called Drigdrishya Viveka, the difference between observer and observed. So that is a very powerful methodology. You can again go back to our Vedanta class and listen to those lectures if you are interested, because this topic is extremely analyzed in detail there. So I told you one example also, right? There are so many people, for example, Ramana Maharshi, when he was about to pass away, so many people said, Maharshi, can you extend your lifespan, because your presence is so important to us. Ramana Maharshi said, my lifespan, what are you talking? Lifespan is permanent. If you are talking about the body, this body's lifetime is over. It cannot be extended. This was his response. It is not just in India, right? I told you the story of Socrates. Socrates, when he was asked to drink the poison, everybody was crying. So initially he asked all the ladies to go out, because he said, like, these people are not giving me the peace to drink the poison. So even the men started crying, but Socrates was trying to cheer them up. And then one person, Crito, he asked Socrates, hey, how do we bury you? So the answer was so interesting. This is written by Plato. Plato, in his book, he has written this very clearly. He said, like, hey, oh Crito, for you want to bury me? For that, you need to get hold of me first. You can, if you are talking about my body, just do with what do you do with other people? This was his response. This is quoted by Plato. This is exactly what that strength that comes from that understanding that I'm not just limited to this body. Body is a gadget given to me. So if I identify with my gadget or a car, that's a problem. But that car or that gadget is extremely important to me. But that doesn't mean that I'm that gadget. So in Vedanta, we call this problem as identification. So again, I would strongly suggest you, if you have any doubt, just listen to that Vedanta discussions. And if you have any questions, we can discuss this offline. So this is the subjective aspect of the action. So training and shifting this I from the body to the Atma is the goal of all the spiritual practice. So that is the journey we have undertaken. And this has to be a spontaneous. Right now it's a theoretical knowledge. This knowledge has to be an integral part of my thought. Remember that story of the 10th man. The 10th man was told, yes, I will find you the 10th man. You are the 10th man. But he did not believe. But when the passerby started counting and proved that he is the 10th man, the fear has gone away. So like that, right now this becomes a theoretical knowledge. We call it as Paroksha Anubhuti. This Paroksha Anubhuti has to be translated into Aparoksha Anubhuti. So once this assimilation happened, we won't treat ourselves as a small person, because he who thinks Atma performs the action means we know that, yeah, whatever happens, we are not performing anything. We are much beyond that. Nobody can kill us and we can kill anybody. And such a person is said to be the true sannyasi, because he has renounced his attachment, or means when I say attachment, don't think wrong. It is the emotional dependency on the physical body. And such a person has the complete freedom in action. So this is a summarization of the discussion so far. And as I said earlier, like these verses were extremely inspiring for Emerson. I told you, like verse 19, he used in one of his poems exactly as it is. Okay, so the summary of this verse is, the one who knows Atma as eternal, indestructible, unborn and deathless will not be deluded after. And this stanza, actually, it's an interrogation or an assertion that he who knows Atma, thereafterwards, he won't be subjected to sorrow on the life's realities. You could see this from the examples of a lot of masters in the history, whether it is a Ramakrishna Paramahamsa or a Ramana Maharshi or even Socrates. All these people, even this knowledge can give you enormous strength. That's why in our literature, right? So when somebody passes away, right, we say like Sharir Chhod Diya. That is the Hindi expression. But meaning in English, if you really look at the Western world, what they say is what? The body lost the soul. The emphasis is on body. And that is why if you really look at the cremation procedures also, there is a huge difference. We don't give a lot of importance to that body once it is dead. What do? We burn it. Whereas on the other traditions, what do they think? The body is so important because the soul has lost the body. The body has lost the soul. So that's why they keep the body. They don't burn the body. So the assumption is that on the day of judgment, this body will be resurrected because it is extremely important to have that body. So there is a different, I wanted to show the difference in the approach of different cultures there. And in Egyptian traditions, you know that, right? This body was so important. And in some cases, they used to keep even the liquor and even servants and even food along with the body, along with the burial ground. That's the extreme cases. Okay. So now the question is, right? So this Atma is, we know that, yeah, from an Atma perspective, we are permanent. So then what happens at the time of this death? That is brilliantly explained through an example. And this is one of the verses that is often quoted from Bhagavad Gita. Those who don't even understand Bhagavad Gita, they try to quote this verse. This is such a popular verse. So let's see the next verse. Very popular verse.
वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि.
All of you heard this verse, right? This is a very popular verse of Bhagavad Gita. A lot of people used to quote this verse left and right in their talks. So let's try to understand what exactly happens here. So, Vasamsi Jirnani Yatha Vihaya. So, this statement you can see a Yatha here and then a Tatha here. Yatha, it's a just like that. It is giving, it's a usual way of expressing something in Sanskrit. By showing something, you're showing an example, and like that example is extended to a different fact. Yatha Tatha. So that's how this verse is constructed. So Yatha, just like. Vasamsi, Vasaha means clothes here. So Vasamsi Jirnani Vihaya. So it means, Vihaya means casting off. When the clothes, the worn out clothes or the old clothes, means when the cloth becomes old, what do? You just throw that cloth away. And then what do? Navani grihnati naroparani. Naraha means the human, a person, takes new clothes. So just like a person cast off the old clothes and take a new cloth, like that. Tatha, just like that. Sharirani vihaya jirnani. The old bodies or the outdated bodies, the subtle body will cast off this outdated body. Anyani samyati navati dehi. It takes a new body. So just like a man, human being, leave the old cloth and take a new cloth when the cloth becomes old, or when that means at his will. That's it. I don't want to say that it is old, because some people, the king of Trivandrum, they use, whenever he goes to the temple every day, he used to wear a new cloth, and that will not be used again, and it will be donated, and whoever gets that, he considers it as a new cloth. So that doesn't mean that it is an old cloth. So at his will, he leave an old cloth and get a new cloth. Like that, the jiva, what it does, it casts off the old body and gets a new body. So just let's do a quiz here. What exactly is the dimension of the jiva we are talking here? Is that the body, or is that the soul, or is that the Atma we are talking? Because this is the most confusing part here, and a lot of people misunderstand this part. So let's just do a quiz. What exactly is the aspect we are talking of the individual? Is that body, is that soul, or is that Atma?
The physical body.
Physical body.
Physical body is being exchanged.
Physical body is being destroyed.
Okay, the physical body is destroyed, that is correct. But who is leaving the physical body, and who is getting the new body?
Subtle body is getting the new body.
Correct. Anybody has any doubt on this? This is very important, because a lot of people think that the Atma is getting a new body. It is the will of the subtle body, because there is no change to Atma. Understand, the Paramatma is not moving from one body to the other. Please understand that. Imagine the bucket and the water. We said there are 100 buckets. It means imagine that one bucket is slightly broken. What do? You get a new bucket, and what exactly being transferred? It is not the sun. It is the water that is being transferred there. The water corresponds to what? Soul, subtle body, exactly. So it is the subtle body that casts off the physical body and gets a new body. It is not the Atma. So that is very clear.
One question. You said that we leave this body, right? This subtle body, and we go like a bucket, get a new body, and the soul remains the same, and the soul remains the same, right? And Paramatma, which is the sun, which is again gets reflected, so that is not changing.
Correct.
But we carry the entire thing with our soul, because our next, like I know something like prarabdha karma that you get, and sanchit karma and all
The physical,
But
yeah,
is the entirety of our soul, or do that also evolve
of course,
somehow?
the soul evolves. Definitely, that's a good question. The soul always evolves. So, the technicality of that, what happens is the karma, right? You're talking about the karma theory. So, the karma means what happens is the next birth. Because what type of, for example, let's take that computer example. Your software needs to be migrated to a new hardware. So what exactly is the hardware you pick? It is going to be determined by the type of software that needs to go there. And what exactly is the subtle body or the evolution of the subtle body when it goes to the next body? It will be determined by the karma. So the karma can be classified into three characteristics. One is called the sanchita karma. The second one is called prarabdha karma. And the third category is called agami karma. So if you really think about sanchita karma, it is the pool where you kept all the karmas. Karmas means whatever you do, whatever you think, whatever you feel, it leaves an impression in your subtle body. That is what the karma is. So this karma, at the time of death or when you are ready to leave that to the next body, what happens? The sum total of the sanchita karma will be analyzed, and a subset of that sanchita karma will be pulled down, and that becomes the prarabdha for the next birth. So to answer your question, yeah, the subtle body means we didn't say that the subtle body is changeless. We just said that the subtle body is going to get a new body. But the subtle body, the change in the subtle body is from the pool of sanchita karma. Let's say that this particular body was begin 50 years back, or 40 years back, or 20 years back, or 100 years back. So this life, I accumulated a set of karma, and that is known as agami karma. So at the end of my life, whatever left sanchita karma and whatever is the agami karma from this life is the new pool of sanchita karma. So from that new pool, like a subset will be taken. And how that subset will be taken, we don't know. Like it is some algorithm happening inside. And that is going to determine the prarabdha of new karma. Let's say that in my pool there are, at this time of the birth, my sanchita karma had, let's say that 100 karma. And I'm making it up, it is millions, right? But just for the simplicity, I'm just saying that it is 100. And in this life, let's say that I accumulated 10 more. So at the end of my life, it will be 110. So when it is 110, what is going to happen? Out of that 110, 10 karma will be picked up. And that is going to determine the prarabdha of my next birth. So I'm going to the next birth, and that body will be determined by this prarabdha karma. And then what happens? It will carry forward that sanchita karma. So this is a complicated law of karma, but this is a good question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
One question, Rajesh.
Yeah.
So, Sanchita Karma, the 100 goes as it is.
Sanchita. Yeah.
The Agami Karma is the karma that we are getting in this birth, let's say. Is that right?
Yep. So let's say that you had 100 sanchita karma, you got agami karma 10, right? So what exactly is going to determine the next birth? It need not be that 10 karma you did this year, this life. So it might be, say, some 5 karmas from the sanchita pool of sanchita karma, maybe another 5 from this birth. So that's the, means we don't know. So but what happens is the sanchita karma pool become 110 at the end of this life, and out of that 10 or whatever is the number of karma that is going to determine the next life is going to come. The only exception, there is an exception, right? If you do an intense spiritual practice, in the chapter 6 at the end, Krishna is saying, if you do an intense spiritual life this year, your next life will be predominantly dominated by this birth's karma. So we'll see that in the 6th chapter. And 8th chapter, we are going to talk about this in detail, what is going to happen to karma, etc.
So, does this karma is anyway connected to subtle body or no?
The karma is part of subtle body. Karma is always part of the subtle body, because subtle body has the karma. Because remember, the subtle body has one component called chitta. Chitta is the place we keep all these karmas, all these programming, all this memory bank is chitta. So that is part of the chitta. and it is part of the subtle body. So in my next life, what is going to happen? I carry forward to that life with this migrated subtle body, and that subtle body has this new pool of sanchita karma, and in that life I will acquire new karmas as agami karma. And then what happens? At the end of that life, the new pool of sanchita karma is going to determine what exactly is going to be my life. And you didn't ask that question, but one question is, at the time of enlightenment, what is going to happen? Because all these sanchita karmas are still there. Is that going to demand a new birth for me or a new problem for me? No. All these sanchita karmas becomes roasted like a roasted seed. A seed can come forward, right, if it is not roasted. So the enlightenment or that realization is going to cast off all these karmas. You will be freed from the bondage of karma. This is what is called as karma bandha. The karma is actually binding you. We are going to see this in the 3rd chapter onwards, right? What exactly is the karma bandha? How that karma, because this is not a matter of faith. You will see how this is going to manifest in your day-to-day life. We can easily see. If you smoke every day for next 10 days, the karma is already getting hold of you here itself. What happens is the way you think, the way you act, the way you feel is always influenced by the bondage of karma. So that's very, very interesting topic which we are going to unfold a lot in the upcoming classes. But this is just a fast forward again. Means I think wait till the 8th chapter. 8th chapter is going to explain this part in detail. But any other questions, please ask. I know that this is a curious topic also.
Okay, so the sanchita karma for the new life would be a new one. Sorry.
No, the
The
sanchita.
subtle body will have a new, a subtle body would be kind of a new.
No. It is a slightly modified. It is slightly evolved, right? So let's say that this
When you say evolved, it means is it a better one or is it a modified one?
it is a modified one. I cannot say that it is better one, because let's say that all your karmas were really negative karmas this year. What is going to happen? Your sanchita karma will have 10 new bad karmas there. So it's let me tell you what Krishna said, right? Karmano means Krishna said one sentence, Gahanat karmana gati. The path of karma is so complicated. Karmano hyavi bodhavyam sa vikarmanaha. Akarmano hyavi bodhavyam gahanat karmano gati. Krishna said, if you are trying to manipulate your karma and getting a better life next time, don't even worry about that. Try to know the truth here and now. And it is going to save you a lot. So this karma's gati is very complicated. Even it is very difficult for anybody to predict that. But understand that this is not that very difficult, because let's say that you had 50 karma. This year you accumulated another 10 karma. That 60 karma together is going to determine a subset of that 60. Let's say that 10 from that 60. Let's say that 8 came from the previous sanchita karma. 3 came from the agami karma of this life. That is going to determine the next life. It is going to continue. And the problem is what? The cycle of karma is going to go forever. Every life is going to put a set of new karmas for me, and I'm going to born again based on the results of that karma. And it goes on and on and on, and it's an endless cycle. And we need to break that cycle, and we need to get out of it. This is what the cycle of karma. It's an interesting discussion. We will continue more about that. So let me finish this verse now, and then we'll discuss about this more. So the example is very simple. Just like a person takes the new clothes and give up the old clothes, like that, the indweller of the body, Dehi means it can be referred as Atma, it can be referred as the soul. So here we need to understand very clearly that it is soul. So the soul will take a new body, and just like that. So that's what it is. So the important question of what happens at death. So we literally lose the connection with a person forever. It's a cause of pain. But what happens to them? That is what is being discussed in this verse. So the Atma, there is no change. The physical body, there is a change. It is gone. what we are talking in this verse is the subtle body or the soul. It will transmigrate to a different body at the time of death. And this is explained with the example. So death and birth is like changing clothes for the subtle body. So the subtle body, like today, it's like, let's say that you brought a pant. What happens after 1 year? You brought it, means the waist was 34, but you eat so much and you became 36. So it is not the same person that is moving. It is an evolved person. Like that, the subtle body means it is a physical body is what? It is a cover for the subtle body. That is what Krishna is trying to explain. It is means the outside world see me always through a shirt. Without a shirt, I won't be seen, right? Like that, the external world will see the subtle body only through a physical body. And it is a cover of the subtle body. And what happens? When the subtle body feels that the use of this physical body is over, it gets a new body. So you may ask, right? So if that is the case, why you see sometimes the young people die? That means that their subtle body, the prarabdha karma for that body is over. It is not determined that it needs to live at 80 years always. No. The prarabdha, the reason for taking that birth is over. The soul has to move to the another body as part of its evolution. That's it. So navani grihnati, that means you get new clothes. Jirnani vasamsi, just like you leave the original clothes. So this is what it is. So just as the individual gives life to the clothes, the subtle body energizes the physical body. The subtle body needs the body to fulfill the desires, just as a person needs the clothes to go out the world. So the point is that the death is not the end of our entire personality. The death is only the end of one personality, which is the physical body. That's it. The soul will continue. The subtle body will continue. And the Atma, nothing is going to happen. So a change of cloth. In other words, a self-realized master will see the death only as like a change of cloth. That is what it is. The Atma do not have rebirth or death. Just keep that in mind. I'm just highlighting that again and again. So even though we lose contact with our loved ones, that doesn't mean that they stopped to exist. Their subtle body will continue, and as Atma, all of us are the same, and nothing is going to happen. So this is a very interesting verse of the Gita. So it's 1 hour, so we can stop here. Anything anybody else wants to discuss?
What's first passage?
Yeah. The slides are, I will put the slides in OneDrive and I will put the video in a couple of days. Please read through this and please contemplate through this verse, because this verse can give you enormous strength. And I will give so many examples in the next few weeks, because there are so many masters gain their strength from these verses. So in next few verses, we are already on 22 up to 25. We are going to talk from the Atma perspective, and then Krishna is going to come back to our level and starts explaining why we should do what needs to be done from a moral ethical perspective. So that is from verse 26 to 38, 37 it is going to be like that. And then he is going to change his approach, because so far we are talking about metaphysics and knowledge, which is not our direct experience. Then from verse 38, he is going to shift the attentions to yoga, because right now we are talking about Samkhya, the knowledge. Yoga means what you can do now, right? How you can change yourself so that you can get evolved. So that is from verse 39. And 39 to 52, he put that in a very high level term in second chapter. Third chapter onwards, it is an elaboration. But on verse 53, Arjuna asked a question. Suppose you are a realized master. Are you going to run away from the world? Are you going to be like a stone? When you know that, okay, the body don't have any only a relative existence? Is that going to mean that earlier you liked ice cream, now you don't like ice cream? Or are you going to be like a complete renunciate, right? When a small child comes to you, don't you even smile at him? Absolutely not. So that part is explained in the last 18 verses of the second chapter, which is really praised by almost everybody in the world. Mahatma Gandhi said, like, there is nothing in the world literature which can be compared to this. That is what Mahatma Gandhi's comment on that verse. So these are the upcoming portions of this chapter. So we'll pause here. Tuesday, we will continue with our 7th chapter, which is again the nature of Ishvara. That is what we are discussing. So we started seeing that in the last class. And Thursday, we will continue with our Vedanta discussion. So the next discussion on Vedanta is called the Srishti, the so-called creation. What exactly Vedantic perspective on that. So we'll discuss that on Thursday.